Hi, welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Thursday, February 15th, 2018. Today I'm going to preview the NHL Trade Deadline, which is a week and a half away. I'm going to give you TSN's list of top 40 guys who are available. And then after I go off on that list, I'll throw out some other dark horse names that could potentially be on the move. And then I'll make my predictions for every team come the deadline. TSN's list, you have Rick Nash of the Rangers, Mike Green of the Red Wings, Mike Hoffman of the Senators, Derek Brassard of the Senators, Patrick Maroon of the Oilers, Evander Kane of the Sabres, Michael Grabner of the Rangers, Mark Letestu of the Oilers, Jack Johnson of the Blue Jackets, Max Pacioretty of the Canadiens, Max Domi of the Coyotes, Thomas Vanek of the Canucks, Zach Smith of the Senators, Nick Holden of the Rangers, Ryan McDonough of the Rangers, Thomas Plekanec of the Canadiens, Derek Ryan of the Hurricanes, Jeff Skinner of the Hurricanes, Alex Galchenyuk of the Canadiens, J.G. Pageau of the Senators, Boone Jenner of the Blue Jackets, Andrew Shaw of the Canadiens, Jordan Kyrou of the Blues, Peter Mrazek of the Red Wings, Johnny Oduya of the Senators, Antoine Vermette of the Ducks, Gustav Nyquist of the Red Wings, Aaron Dell of the Sharks, John Gillies of the Flames, Eric Gudbranson of the Canucks, Ian Cole of the Penguins, Josh Levo of the Maple Leafs, Blake Comeau of the Avalanche, Ben Hutton of the Canucks, Matt Cullen of the Wild, Nick Fatton of the Jets, and Robin Leonard of the Sabres, Frank Vatrano of the Bruins, Bobby Ryan of the Senators, and Tyson Barrie of the Avalanche is your top 40 on the list. A couple names to look out for that I didn't name. You have Patrick Sharp of the Blackhawks. A couple other... I don't think the Islanders are going to trade John Tavares, but if they go on a losing streak and something happens, don't rule out the possibility that his name pops up. Josh Bailey in a contract year could be not on the move, but could be in conversations potentially. And then you got a young defenseman in Tampa Bay, Mikhail Sergachev, who they acquired in the Jonathan Drouin trade last year. That other teams are trying to pry away from them, so Tampa can make a sort of a win-now move. And you also got another interesting name is Brandon Saad of the Chicago Blackhawks, Thomas Plekanec of the Montreal Canadiens, and a name that I would be shocked if this person's moved, Leon Draisaitl of the Edmonton Oilers. That's a name that I heard is in the rumor mill. I don't think it's going to happen. I'd be shocked if it did. And then in his teammate Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, I heard his name in the rumor mill as well. I don't think that's going to happen. My predictions for every team. I'm going to look back at these in a week and a half and see how I do. The Anaheim Ducks, I think they stand pat. I think the perception of them as a buyer. They're a point out of third place in their division. Antoine Vermette can be had, but that's a team that I think should be a buyer, but I think they'll stand pat. The Coyotes should be a seller, and I think they trade Max Domi. And you'll hear Oliver Ekman-Larsson's name thrown out there as well. I don't think they'll trade Ekman-Larsson. He's a franchise guy. The Boston Bruins should be buyers. I think they'll stand pat, but you'll hear them linked to Rick Nash and Ryan McDonough of the New York Rangers. The Buffalo Sabres should be sellers, and they will be sellers, and I think they trade Patrick Kane away. I think the time's to come for them to trade away Kane. And another name that was thrown out there as a possible trade candidate, Sam Reinhart of the Sabres, but I think he stands put. The Calgary Flames should be a buyer, but I'm going to say they stand pat. The Carolina Hurricanes should be buyers, but I think they're going to trade away Jeff Skinner. The Chicago Blackhawks should be sellers. That team had its run, 3 Stanley Cups this decade, but they're now double digits out of the wild card spot in the Western Conference. They should be a seller, but I don't think they'll trade away guys like Brandon Saad, and who knows, I don't think Patrick Sharp has value. And I think they stand pat, although they should consider trading away Brandon Saad, because he'll get you back something. The Colorado Avalanche should be buyers, and I'm going to say that's the team that acquires Jeff Skinner. And that said, it won't cost them Tyson Barrie, because I think Tyson Barrie stands pat. The Dallas Stars should be buyers, and they will be buyers. I'm going to say they acquire Michael Grabner of the New York Rangers and Eric Gudbranson of the Vancouver Canucks. The Detroit Red Wings should be sellers, and they will be sellers. I think they'll trade away Gustav Nyquist and Peter Mrazek. I know there's rumors about Jimmy Howard gaining interest, but Jimmy Howard's contract's an albatross, so I'm going to say Mrazek's more likely to get moved, and I think Mrazek does get moved. The Edmonton Oilers should be sellers, and I think they stand pat, and they'll keep Leon Draisaitl, and they'll keep Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I just don't see them selling, although they have some nice assets. The Florida Panthers should be sellers, but they'll stand pat. I heard them as a dark horse possibility for Max Pacioretty, but I don't see it. The Los Angeles Kings should be buyers, and they are buyers. They already went out and traded for Dion Phaneuf, and I think they'll add Gustav Nyquist to their team. The Minnesota Wild should be buyers. I think they stand pat, although you'll hear a lot of rumors about Ryan McDonough going to the Minnesota Wild because he's from St. Paul. The Nashville Predators will be buyers, and they should be buyers. I'm going to say they trade for Rick Nash, and they have to trade away one of their 2 prized prospects, whether that is Dante Fabro, their young defenseman, or Eli Tollivan, a nice forward. One of those guys, or heck, even both of those guys might be headed back to the Rangers in that trade. I'm going to say Tollivan is the one that goes to the Rangers in that Nash deal, and I think they include their 2018 first rounder in there as well. The New Jersey Devils should be a buyer, and I think they will be a buyer. I think they're going to make a move for Thomas Vanek. They need, I think, more veteran guys in that lineup that help them, and I think Vanek's a nice fit there. The New York Islanders should be a buyer, and I think they will be a buyer. I think the guy they'll trade for is Matt Martin of the Toronto Maple Leafs. The New York Rangers are going to be sellers. They already admitted it in a letter sent out to the fans about a week ago. I think Rick Nash, Ryan McDonough, Michael Grabner, Nick Holden, and David Desharnais will all be traded by the deadline. And you'll hear rumors about Matsu Garello, and you'll hear rumors maybe about Mark Stahl, but I think his contract's too hard to move. The Ottawa Senators will also be sellers. They already traded away Dion Phaneuf to the Kings, as I just mentioned. I think Mike Hoffman goes out the door next. Although, another thing is that a bonus prediction, Erik Karlsson name will be floated out there, and teams will try to get him, and Ottawa holds on to him ultimately. The Philadelphia Flyers should be buyers, and I'm going to say they're the team that trades for Detroit's Peter Mrazek. They lost Brian Elliott for 4 to 6 weeks due to injury, and Mrazek would be a nice little placeholder for Elliott before he comes back. The Pittsburgh Penguins are always buyers, and they're going to be buyers again. I'm going to say they trade for Montreal's Thomas Plekanec and Ottawa's Mike Hoffman. The St. Louis Blues, I'm going to say they're a buyer. And they're the team that trades for Buffalo's Evander Kane. And I think it'll cost them 1 over 2 of Jordan Krylov, Klim Kostin, or Tage Thompson. 2 of those 3 guys I think will end up going. And I'm going to say Kostin goes and Kyrou goes. And Thompson stays, and they're not trading away Robert Thomas. That guy's untouchable. The San Jose Sharks are buyers. I'm going to say they trade for New York's David Desharnais. The Tampa Bay Lightning are buyers, and I'm going to say they trade for New York's Ryan McDonough. And it's going to cost them a couple prospects. I'm going to say it costs them 2 of Brett Howden, Callan Foote, Libor Hadjic, or the name I mentioned before, Mikhail Sergachev. I'm going to say Foote goes and Howden goes in the deal for McDonough. Although New York really wants Sergachev. I don't think Tampa gives him up, but I'm going to say Tampa gives up Howden, Foote, and their 2018 first rounder. You have the Toronto Maple Leafs who are buyers. I'm going to say they trade away James Van Riemsdyk, though, only because he's in a contract year. And I'm going to say they trade for Detroit's Mike Green. And the other thing while I was doing these predictions, Mike Green is on the Red Wings. Mike Babcock used to coach the Red Wings. I don't think Green played for Babcock, though. I think Green was still on Washington when Babcock was still coaching Detroit. The Vancouver Canucks should be sellers, and they will be sellers. I think they trade away Eric Rubinson and Thomas Vanek. The Vegas Golden Knights should be buyers, and I'm going to say they will be buyers. I think they trade for New York's Nick Holden, and they keep James Neal. James Neal's in a contract year. That's why his name's been mentioned in trade rumors. The Washington Capitals will be buyers, and I'm going to say they make a small deal. I'm going to say they trade for Ottawa's Johnny Oduya to help out in their defense core. In the Winnipeg Jets, buyers, I'm going to say they're the team that lands James Van Riemsdyk because they are seeking a top 6 forward. And the team I forgot to mention in this is the Montreal Canadiens. They're going to be a seller. I'm going to say Plekanec goes. They keep Pacioretty, and they keep Galchenyuk. We'll see how I do with these predictions. I'm going to look back, obviously, and after the trade deadline happens and see how I do. Tomorrow I'll be back with a lot of different things, previewing the weekend in college basketball and the NBA, and recap some NBA games from today and yesterday, and same with college basketball. I had to redo my baseball's top 100 list because I forgot some key guys, so I'm going to reveal my new list, and I'm also going to redo my bracket thing after I did it on Monday. A lot of things have changed, so I'm going to possibly do a new bracket on Friday. You know what? I'm going to do the bracket next Monday because I just have a handful to do on tomorrow's podcast. We'll do the bracket on Monday. I hope you guys have a nice night, everybody.